Hey, and welcome to yet another episode of Sandmans Tattle Time. Tonight we've got the new Thermalink from Trident, a few emails from you guys, and we've also got a very interesting rig that I've never seen before, but we'll be building it very shortly, so hopefully you like this one. But we'll come straight back and we'll hit onto these emails that's from you guys. Right, let's crack on with these emails. The first one I've got is from a lad called Paul down in Dorset. He says, Paul, can you help solve a long-going argument for me and a few mates of mine in regards to the moulds from UK Hooks? Is the 50-gram grip sinker from UK Hooks the smallest hook that they ever did in the old DCI style? The answer to that is, as far as I'm aware, is yes. I have got the full range of UK Hooks in the 50 grams grips. That is a 50-gram grip, and I'm sure that they do not do a smaller one than that. The biggest one that they do that I know of is 200 grams. I'd just like to add, lads, that this information I'm giving you now, it's all available on Mike's UK Hooks website, so that would have maybe solved your argument. But if you haven't got internet access or you're not very good with things like that, that's fair comment. Hopefully that solved your argument. The smallest one that I know of is 50 gram. The biggest one that I know of is 200 gram. I did hear rumours that there was an 8 ounce floating around. I have never actually seen one. I know there isn't different style moulds, like you've got slinky moulds, there they are here. Another one, CNC machine, really good quality moulds. They're made by a gentleman up here in the northeast of England. Honestly, the quality of them are very nice, very nice. Unfortunately, I'm the lucky owner of 2 of them, so they're fantastic. But 50 gram the smallest, in grip, 200 gram the biggest that I know of. Hopefully that solves your argument, boys. Next email is from a lad called Barry. Barry, Paul, can you give us a little hint of things to come in the future from Trident? Now, email number 3. Paul, can the B alarm on the Spinfisher 6500 be removed like people used to do in the olden days? I've never done it on a 6500, but what I can tell you is that I have got a pair of 7500s, the Mark IIs, and I have removed the B alarms because they used to get in the way. I always remember back in the olden days, my dad and my uncle and all that, first thing that they ever do if they got a fixed spool rail, I'm going way back into the 80s here, got a fixed spool rail, one of the first things that you do, both the B alarm was always cut off due to just getting in the way, wrapping the knuckles on a cold air, winter's night and stuff like that. Personally, I've never ever had any chew with it. That's why they're off on mine, that they can get in the way and stuff like that. It works for me, that's why it's done. However, I have got another pair of B alarms that I've bought, that if I ever sell these, or the person wasn't happy with the B alarm being cut off, I can put a brand spanking new B alarm back on both rails. You'll never know the difference. But I haven't got a 6500, but I would have thought the size is just a little bit smaller, so I would have thought it wouldn't have been no problem at all. It's not hard to do, it's one screw, cut the other side, it's like a bayonet fitting and it slots out. It was not hard to do at all, but that's that. Right, that's the end of the emails. Quickly, let's hit onto this. I'll just put that to one side for the moment. If you remember in the last video, I had a lot of people saying, Paul, can I have another tattle sticker? Can I have another tattle box sticker? Not a problem. And I says, all you have to do is send me a prepaid self-addressed envelope and I'll do the rest. Great. For the lads that watched and lasses that watched the last video, I held up a big envelope and it was massive. And he was just wanting some stickers that size. So if you can recall, I says, all you need to do is send me, I think that's C6, an envelope that size. People having a bit of a giggle about it and stuff like that, as I've done. I'm not having a dig at anybody, it's just maybe they didn't know, but that's all we need to do, just an envelope that size. I was hoping to get the message out there. So, I'll try again. Lads and lasses, if you want a Sandman's Tattle Time box sticker, free of charge, send me a prepaid C6 self-addressed envelope and I will do the rest. That is a C6. I don't need a piece of wallpaper, if you like. I've got these as one person from County Antrim. I'm not going to see his name. And this lad's from Hebburn. Again, I'm not going to see his name. I'm probably not going to send them back to you lads if you watch this video, but I will. I'll pay for it as well. Send you some in that size. I'll pop them in the post for you. And hopefully that'll be the end of that. But please, if you want a Sandmans Tackle Time sticker, they're free. They always will be. They always have been. C6 envelope. Prepaid. Put a stamp on it. I'll do the rest. Simple as that. Right. Hopefully that's that sorted out. One last thing before we go into this Trident Termalink, the new Trident Termalink, is that I've been a good boy. And the good old wife, the significant other, has been treating us to a new, like what I'm doing here, road building jig. Now for those that will know that I used to have a little dabble with road building a few years ago. And I knocked it on the head because, in my personal opinion, rod builders do not get paid enough for what they do. Believe you me, I know exactly what's entailed into stripping a rod, reglazing it, building it up to this. I mean, and some of the work that you're seeing at the minute, my God. My good old bud there, John Malvern, Worldwide Rod Builders. If you want to go into rod building or anything like that, give his Facebook page a look up. There's some absolute works of art gets on there. Dave Llewellyn, people like that, I just mesmerises me. I'd be scared to use them if I had any work like that done on one of my rods. But with this lockdown, it starts playing a little bit with your mind. And I'd built my own rod jig and I was having a little bit toodle on. But I was sitting to our lasses in it. I always found it a little bit better by having a power wrapper. We've been saving a few quid because they are quite expensive. And she went and got us one for Christmas, so she's an absolute legend. I'll be lost without her. The reason I'm telling you all this for is because it's freed up my personal rod building jig, which if one viewer wants to come to my house and sort this out, they can have it free of charge. I'm no longer using it. I'm getting on off the gaffer for it being lying around the house, taking up too much room. So if you're out there and you want to give it a go at rod building, there's a jig here, free of charge. It's not the best in the world. I'll show you in a minute. You can have it. It's as simple as that. I don't want anything for it. I'll go it up here. I'll give you a quick look at it. Oh, that's it there. Oh, I'm knocking things over. It's just got a couple of stickers on. That's it there. And then that's the carriage I built for it. Ooh. That's the carriage. The carriage slots into there. There's like a little runner. Your cottons go into there. They come through there, which ties up with your rod. So there it is there. So if you want a rod building jig, free of charge, you want to come to the house and come and get it, it's yours. It's carbon fibre wrapped. It's not a Rolls Royce, but it will do the job. If you want to give it a try, you've never done rod building before, there it is there. It's yours, free of charge. Get in touch with us, send us a message, and we'll do the rest. Right, I'll plop that down there. I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to crack on and mention this Termalink and get this rig made. Right, so the new Termalink from Trident. Here it is here. I've got a few up on the table here for you. There it is there. Right, the price for these, just so you know, is staying at £2.424. The new version has got a hole increased from 0.7mm up to 1.2mm. This is to accommodate anywhere up to £150 mono line. The Termalink has also got an improved line protection system. There it is there. When you get these through the post, as I'm sure, I know these they're huge with anglers out there. You just love them. Not as much as me, mind. No, they're really, really handy. So that's it. So it's got an improved hole of up to 1.2mm to accommodate £150 mono, and it's got an improved line protection system. Now, when you get these in the post, you'll notice that they used to come already, or like that. Is it a spur that they call them? Gary's told me that they will no longer come like that. They will come loose. So you'll get like your £2, your 24 for your £2, but they will be loose from now on. So hopefully that's a bit of a thumbs up. There's a bit constructive criticism was floating around out there with the size of the hole through the termalink. You're getting some cod anglers out there, if you like that, want to use like a really heavy mono through the termalink. Hopefully that increase of up to a 1.2 mil hole will accommodate that. They're slightly smaller than the Mark 1. Just a little bit constructive criticism. He's took it on the chin, put it into this, redeveloped it, cut a little tweaks on a product that was already amazing in my opinion. I'm sure a lot of you guys out there agree with that. So he's done what he's done with it, made it even better than what it was. So there it is, the new Trident Termalink. Right, let's get cracking on and let's get it onto a rig. Right, let's crack on with this rig. Before I go on with it though, and I start telling you about the components that you'll need to put it together and all the rest of it, let's tell you the little story that comes along with it. But 2 or 3 weeks ago, you got me and a few lads, from Gary included, from Trident up at the factory while having a cup of coffee and a little bit of crack on and putting the world to rights, shall we say. Before you know it, there's gear, new gear on the table, we're talking about new gear, and this rig comes up in conversation. Takes it out the bag, has a look at it. My God, never say nothing like it in army life. Oh, this is very interesting, this. New Termalink was kicking about, says, well, why don't we do a video on it? Slap new Termalink onto it, turn it into a video. Cracking idea. And that's what we're going to do. So, the bit that we couldn't decide was what to call it. I've got no right to put a name on it. I don't want to call it after me. It's tackle time or anything like that. No. And another lad that was there didn't want to call after him. We nicknamed him as Chubby Tits. You know exactly how he is when he watches this video. And Gary didn't want it named after Trident or himself. So we all put our heads together and thought, why not let yous decide what to call this rig? That's exactly what we're going to do. So, if you want to take part, just a little bit of fun, in the comments below, put your answer of whatever you think this rig should be called. We'll let it run for a week or so. Me, Gary and Chubby Tits, pardon me French, we'll go through the answers, we'll see what's what, and we'll pick one. And the winner is, whoever it is, I'll take it on me. I'll make you a couple of these and I'll send you them in the post. A little present, so to speak. So that's that. So, once you've watched the video, smash the subscribe button and the like. It's always a good thing to do. Put your comment below and we'll take it from there. What shall we call this rig? It's down to you. Right, that's that out of the way. What do you need to make the rig? Here I've got a length of blue marlin mono. No, it's not a cut-off. It's probably the smallest rig body I've ever seen in my life. It is 35 centimetres long. So that is £70 blue marlin mono, £70 long. I know it's hard to get all the blue marlin right now. I've heard all the stories. We did mention this on the last video. The mono of your choice. Whatever rig body you were using, cut it to 35 centimetres long. You'll also need, in my case, I'm using the Trident range. So here I've got the Trident rotor. This is the hangover. There's the SRT spring that goes with that. There is a couple of crimps. That is a £100 break and strain power swivel and 2 of the new Trident Termalinks right there. And that's what you need to make this rig body. You also need a hook snood of your choice, but we'll go into that when we're doing that. In this case, for the hook snood, the hook end of it, I am using that 3/0 Viking, I believe. Yes, I have cut the end off because it's a little habit of getting into, because when you're making videos, and if that little bit goes into your hand, it tickles a bit. So just for safety, I give them a quick snip and take them off. So that's what you need. So let's crack on and put this all together. Right then, so once you're getting hold of your side of your mono and you come to cut it on an angle. Don't cut it flat like that. Cut it on an angle. The reason for this is, once you want to put your crimp through it, if there's any shite or a piece of crud inside of there, if it's cut flat, sometimes it butts up against it and you just can't get the mono through the crimp. But I found if you put a little bit of a slice onto it, it just finds its own way through, no problem whatsoever. Right then, so we're going to get the end and get the Termalink and push that through like so. Now, I have been using crimps. In fact, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll use a crimp because people are loving the crimp bit at the minute. So you put your crimp on first, put your mono through the whole of the termalink. Now, because I'm using a really tight crimp, I have got to use a pair of pliers on there to hold that, to force it through. As you'll see that both ends come, and that's it, it's come through at the other end, as you can see. It's just, I like that to be solid and tight, especially with it being a rig buddy. So we're going to pull that down, as you can see. So you've then got that. These are the 4-way crimping pliers as you've seen on Sandmans Tattle Time recently. These are just the dog's dangly bits. It's as simple as that. Pull that a bit tight and crimp that together. You now end up with that. So what we'll do now is trim off that tag end. So you've now got that. Right, so what we'll do now is get a crimp, as you can see, and we'll pop that straight onto the mono. So you want a crimp. There is your hangover, Trident hangover. Pop that onto there, making sure that you've got this the right way up. If you can just look, there's a little groove in there. Make sure you've got that the right way, because if it's upside down, you'd be in a little bit of trouble. Right, so you've got your hangover. After your hangover, you need to put your SRT spring, like so. You're then there. And then I'm just going to put a little point on that because I forgot to do the other end. There we go, that's better. Then we're going to get a little bead followed by a crimp. There we have it. And that there, if I move that down, that there is where you should end up. So you end up with a crimp, the Trident hangover, the SRT spring. That there is a tiny little oval bead. These here are made from Any Fish Anywhere. They are like hen's teeth to get hold of at the minute. Fortunately, I bought a bulk load of them quite some time ago, so I've still got quite a few. But the only place that I've seen some close is Michael West at Seaglow. He's just started these, so get in touch with Michael West. He's a cracking lad. I'm sure he'll help you out if you can. And he's doing some beads very similar to them guys. And then on the bottom of that, you've got yourself another crimp. That's there. Right then, while we're there, we'll put another crimp on, followed by another small bead. Then you want your, I know that swivel there, I've got a little ruler on here. I mean, if you look at that, it's absolutely tiny. It's just over, what's that, about 11 mil or something like that. That's got a breaking strain of 100 pound. These power swivels are honestly the future. I'm massive on safety, so I love them to bits. Yes, they might be a little bit more expensive than what you're used to, but safety's paramount. Anyway, so you got your little swivel of choice on there. In this case, it's a power swivel, like I've just said, followed by another bead. And last but not least, you're going to follow that on with another crimp. So on that part of it, you've now got that. Very neat and tidy. I'm not going to put any of these in situ at the moment because we've got another crimp to go on there right now. So what we'll do is get another crimp. And just like we did at the other end, we're going to pop that crimp onto there. Get your termalink and repeat basically what you've done at the other end. I'll get my pliers just like I did to hold it. There we go. You can get bigger swivels where it just pops through. This is my own choice. I like it to be tight. I really do. The last thing you want is a crimp or a knot failing. Into there, pull that tight and crimp that up. Take off the tag end. And just like the other end, that's where you're on now. Very neat and tidy. Very strong. Right then. Going back to the top end of the rig. about 2 inches down from the top of the rig. About 2 inches down. Hold your crimp in place and put your crimping tool into there and lock it in place like that. Go to the other end, pull all your little bits and bobs through. It's a little bit fidgety, but you'll get there. And put your other crimp in the jaws of the crimper. Now, I get this a lot in emails. Don't compress the spring whatsoever. Do not compress the spring. Pull the mono through, and just so you can start to feel it bite, which is just about there, crimp and lock it in place. So you've then ended up with that. That there is going absolutely nowhere. Now, while you've got them crimpers over your mono, and at the other end, just repeat a couple of inches up from the bottom, get your crimp and plonk that back into your crimping tool like so. Roughly the same. Crimp that into place, lock it off. And then all we're going to do is repeat that on the other side. So you like that. Pop that all through so it's all neat and tidy, and crimp nice and tight. That there is your rig body all done. And all I'm going to pop onto the bottom of there is a matching colour Trident rotor. So it's nice and uniform, it's all in colour and ready to rock. That's so. Right then, actually I need to put a sinker on that, so I'll take it off. Here I've got a length of mono. In this case I'm using, take the glasses off, getting out, I'm wearing glasses now, can you go on? Can I believe it? Yuki Invisible. I've got it in various different braiding strains, this stuff. This, ooh, sexy, love it. I found that a fair few years ago. I've used nothing since, ever since. If it isn't broke, don't fix it. That's what they say. That Yuki Invisible is the dog's dangly bits, especially in the clear. It's strong, it's thin, it's subtle, it's ooh, lovely stuff, lovely stuff. I've had hounds on it, I've had all sorts on it, no problems whatsoever. Raymondos, the lot, not a problem. Anyway, let's pop these back on. If we're coming to the bottom end of the rig. Now it's up to you what length that you want to do the hook trace. It's entirely up to yourself. In this case, it's roughly 2 foot long. So what we're going to do is pop that through as is, and we're going to do the good old famous knot that you see me do. 1, 2, 3 through the bottom. 1, 2, 3. You end up with that. Apply gob oil. Just get them round, and we'll send that home. There you go. Very neat and tidy, very strong. Take off the tag end. You now have that. Now for me, I like to always put on a piece of silicone tubing. That there's about, what, 2 inches, somewhere around there. The only reason I use, excuse me, the silicone tubing is because it helps kick off the hook snood away from the main body of the line. So, with that, again, a little bit of gob oil onto that, and then just pull that over. So you've now ended up with that. So all it is, that's not going anywhere. That'll stay there. I'm not worried about that. Right, so now that we're there, what we need to do next is we need one of these little beads. Now you can use power gum, you can use a piece of silicone tubing. Just all it's going to be is just a stop knot. That's all it's going to be. We're going to pop that on the end of there. Leave that floating for the time being. I'll get the hook and we're going to repeat that knot and put your hook on the other end. pull that through 2-3 inches, 1, 2, 3, and through the bottom, and repeat. Maintain that loop. It's important. You must maintain that loop. It's key, that. And just repeat that again for those that's never seen this knot. Again, apply gub oil and send that home. Oh, that is strong, that is strong. Right, remove that tug end. You now have that. Right, so this is the tricky bit. Run the rig body and the hook snood through your fingers until you get to the Trident hangover. And what you need to do is put, whether you're using, here I've got the little beads with the crimp inside, and that's basically all this. Now what you want to do is put the line through the hangover like so, like that. Pull your rig tight, make sure it's all married up nicely as it is there. And then what we do is get a little pair of pliers here. Now you can, like you see, you can use a piece of silicone tube. That's all I've done. You can use silicone tubing if you like. I'm just not a fan of putting a knot into it and stuff like that. Now, you might have seen a similar rig here where you put a cascade swivel, which in a way, yes, it'll work, but you put a little join in the line if you like. Here it isn't. It's just a little bit of a crimp or a SRT, a piece of silicone tubing, or you can put a stop knot on there, whatever your preference. Then what we do is get that bit right. Put on your bait clip of choice. Like I say, in my case, I am using the Trident Tourmaline, and that is going to lock off straight onto there as it is. Now then, what I'll do is, because I've got a matching set right down here, because believe it or not, we're not finished quite yet. I've got this one because it's already got a sinker on the bottom of it. It's exactly the same. So like I say, I should have done it with a sinker on the other one because obviously the sinker will take up the weight. So you lock your hook into that, as you can see. Go to the other end and lock it off with your bead. Like I say, this is exactly the same as the one I've just made. And you lock that off. And that's it. Very similar to a bagnall bar in a way, but without the bagnall bar. You've used mono. As soon as the paddle hits the water, it's off and it's away and float. So you could use that rig and you could go out there and nice long bottom flowing trace. You could use it for God knows what out there. Me personally, it would be used for flounder, plaice, hounds, Raymondos. That's what I would use it for. Or if you're out there and you wanted to turn that into a very, very well-known scratching rig, what would you do? Here I've got a length of 70-pound blue marlin mono. And what we're going to do is hold that out, turn your face the other way, end of your nose. And we're going to snip that off. And we're going to make one of the most common rigs that's ever been known. Here we go. And this time, I'm not going to use the crimps for the people that's not a fan of crimps. Let's go back to the good old knot. You've gone through there. 1, 2, 3. Through the bottom. 1, 2, 3. There you have that. I'll put that into there so I can pull it tight. There we go. Right, take it off. Now if you look there, I don't know how, I'll just take that tag end off first. I don't know how good the camera will pick this up for you. But look at how well the mono is hidden in the new line protection system of this Tourmaline. And that's with a knot, not a crimp. Absolutely fantastic. I love these to bits. Gary from Trident, you absolutely hit the nail on the head with these guys, mate. Fantastic. Anyway, so that is your Termalink on. We're going to slap on a little rotor onto the bottom of that. Next, we're going to put on a crimp at the other end, followed by one of them little beads, whatever bead of your choice. A tiny little power swivel, followed by another bead. Last but not least, another crimp to tie all that off. Then what we'll do is we'll get one of them little swivels bigger brother. The difference, £100 brake and strain, that little guy there. This little fella there, that is £295 brake and strain. Some people say, Paul, why do you go that high? It's not a case of the highness of the poundage. For me, it's I can get hold of the bugger. That's all it is for me. Anyway, we're going to tie that off exactly I have done on the Termalink end. Repeat that knot. 1, 2, 3. Put that through the bottom. 1, 2, 3. Apply your gob oil. Put that through the hole. Slide that up. You should then, after trimming off the tag end up with that fella there. Right, go to the other end and grab all in one the 2 crimps, 2 beads and the swivel. Get your crimping tool, again a couple of inches from the top, so roughly there. Crimping tool, pop the crimp into the jaws and lock that into place. Get the rest of it, poke it through the hole. There we go. There we have it. And we'll lock that in place as well. There you go. That's it, it's done. Pull that back out. And there you have it. Now that there, by the time I've put on a hook trace and that ties off to the bottom, you've got your bog standard paternoster rig. What you could do, in my preference, you could have even put an SRT spring on there. Now then, I'll put that to one side, because like I say, here's one. I've got a blue Peter Bodger. Here's one I made earlier. This one's got a couple of slight differences to it. As you can tell, I've used crimps on this one, not like the other. So, we've got the big swivel, onto a crimp, couple of inches down, onto a crimp, couple of beads, SRT spring, another bead, another crimp to lock it all into place. At the other end, we have got crimp, Trident Termalink, and the Trident rotor, and that's it there. Then onto the hook stud side of things. The only difference is with this rig, as you can see, I've incorporated a SRT spring. That's the only difference. It's very simple. Just instead of doing that, just put a spring on it. Some people like them, some people don't. And then, as you can see on the hook stud, again, this is £80 Yucky Invisible. I've put a little piece of silicone tubing onto there. This is a size 5/0 chino. Got bloody crimps dancing all over the place. And what we'll do now is put that into there like so and lock that off. Now if I get the whole rig, it tightens up, and there you have it. The whole thing is done, ready to rock and roll. And as you see, as soon as you pop that off, as I've just done, out of the jaws, so it's there, hits the seat, pops off, you're ready to rock and roll. But let's go back to what I was talking about with it being a 2-hook flapper. Get the rig that hopefully you guys is going to give a name to. Get the bottom of your standard paternoster. Get your rotor clip. Clip that onto the top of the new rig body that we've just been making. What we're going to do is we're going to pop the hook onto the bottom of that one, because it's come off here, as you can see. That's going to pop onto there. We're going to put the bead back into the Trident hangover. So we've got that like that. That's locked off, ready to go. It'll be a lot easier if this is on a fishing stand, all baited up, ready to go. Now, at the paternoster end, put your hook in. Again, it's baited up. You've put it into your rotor. It's locked in. And there you have it. As soon as it hits the water, that's popped off. Long bottom flowing trace. That hits the water, just like the other one as it goes in. Now you've got that off. And there you have got a Trident tested, very successfully I might add, 2-hook scratching rig. There you go. If I get the chance, we're in lockdown at the moment, if I get the chance, I'll add a little bit onto this video and I'll do a little session with me using this rig. It works a treat, take it from me. But keep in mind, we're in lockdown, as you know. You kind of go here, you kind of gone there, you kind of do this, you kind of do that. Then the government's saying, well, you can go fishing, but you can only... I don't know what to do. But one thing I do know is I can't afford a £200 fine. I'd rather put that on my kids than a fishing trip, if you know what I mean. But that's that. Anyway, just before I end, you've seen the rig, you've seen how it's made. Very interesting. In the comments below, let's say what you want to call it. Me, Gary and the lads, we'll get our heads together, we'll pick one out, and that's what we'll call a rig. You take care out there, be safe, and I'll see you all in a very, very exciting, I'm hoping, episode of Sandmans Tackle Time in February. Take care, be safe, tight lines.